Live, ladies and gentlemen, we are live. Very different this year, not Dundas Square as tradition.
No.
But we didn't get a chance to see the movie early this year, so that's why we didn't have a chance to go to Dundas Square. So, but here we are. It is what is it? It's Friday, October the 14th, 2022. We just got out of seeing. Hang on a sec here. I'm trying to. Oh, I think that's just going to do that. We just got out from seeing Halloween Ends. Halloween Ends, and we saw it.
Yeah.
I'm going to be going live tomorrow on my channel at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to give my epic, in-depth.
Right.
I'll be online for about 6 days, and I'll be wearing diapers, and I won't be fucking. I'm probably not going to see you ever again.
You're just going to be feeding through a tube.
Yes. I will be feeding through a tube, and I will be, that'll be me. But here we are. So we decided to do the, but we had to go live.
Yeah. Initial thoughts.
Right? It's tradition. 230 people watching.
What's up, everybody?
Yeah. So first, immediate thoughts right out of the theater. So we're doing this from my car. So who wants to go first? You want to go first?
No, man. I think. I don't know. Do you?
You want me to go first?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. I think what everybody has been saying about the feeling of the film, the tone of the film, is spot on. I mean, it doesn't feel anything like a Halloween movie. It doesn't look like a Halloween movie. It doesn't smell like a Halloween movie. It doesn't taste like a Halloween movie.
Yeah.
And
there were moments.
Oh, and by the way, I should say that
overall,
spoiler alert if you haven't seen the film. It's not a terrible movie when you look at it from it's better than Kills in the sense of I think it's better. It's got better structure. Some people have talked about the pacing. I didn't really feel any pacing issues. I think the issue is that it's the film itself overall is more of a drama than it is a horror film.
Yep, I would agree. Yeah.
And I think that's why people might say that there's pacing issues. Well, yes, I mean, for all intents and purposes, I see what they're saying.
Yeah.
But I think it's just because it's a slow-moving drama about this relationship and this descent into madness from this character, Corey.
Yeah.
So obviously, I get why it really focuses heavily on that. When we left the theater and we were talking in the hallway, we both agreed that at the end of the day, this is not a very good Halloween movie. It's I think 18, and I've said 18 is not really a great Halloween movie, but 18 is a better Halloween movie than this movie. I think this is. I agree with you when you had said that. I think really you don't even need Michael Myers in this movie at all.
Yeah,
I don't. I think actually it does.
It was just kind of a disservice. It was kind of weird having him in there.
I think doing I think with the story they wanted to tell, and whether you agree with the direction or not, whether you agree with the creative choices or not, with the story they wanted to tell, I think having Michael, and we understand why he's in there. Of course, you have a trilogy you need to complete. He's the face of the franchise. I get it, but at the end of the day, with this particular story, I think it is doing a massive disservice because Michael just is, he shows up at the end and it feels tacked on, and it's just, it might serve your story better if this was an anthology film. If this was a movie just called Haddonfield. Or it was, and there are fans out there, I've seen them, there are fans out there that really like this movie. And maybe that's a sign that should tell Malek Akkad that, you know what, going in anthology directions where Michael Myers is hardly in the movie, you actually have a lot of fans okay with it if you can tell a compelling story that lives in that universe. And I think maybe if this was like I said, a movie called Haddonfield or something, and it was an anthology film about this character named Corey who has a tragic accident with this kid, and he's descending into madness, and people see the parallels of Michael Myers, which basically is the story. Well, then just focus on that. You don't even need Michael Myers.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't even need him.
Yeah, because the story was strong enough. Like, I agree with what you're saying. Like, I think as a horror, okay, so as I was saying to Dave, imagine you remove the character of Michael Myers and any Halloween-related elements from the movie altogether.
You can go that way as well. So you can go the
I'm kind of
anthology
suggesting
route, keep it Halloween. You can go your way and just make it a
standalone horror movie.
It has nothing to do with Halloween.
Just by itself. Exactly. You could still have Jamie Lee Curtis in it. She's just simply playing a different character. No reference to Michael Myers. And
she's not Laurie Strode. She's Jane somebody.
Exactly.
And
I think if as I was saying to Dave, if it was taken and if it was made as a standalone horror movie, I think it would be successful, like in its entirety, like for the most part, like generally speaking.
It would probably be more of a Netflix movie, I think.
Sure. But you know what? Like, listen,
not that there's anything wrong with that.
But I would say, like, in my opinion, it would be as strong of a horror movie as some recent releases.
It's a thriller drama.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. It's not a horror movie, it's a thriller drama.
And as I was saying to Dave, then you still could have had Corey as the guy who's the killer. Still the same, like, arc and what that character's going through, but instead make him the scarecrow guy.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Make the mask scarier. Maybe he starts with that mask because his girlfriend gives it to him, but then maybe or not. I would actually just give him a scarier mask from jump, and then.
Well, I would keep it as the scarecrow mask, but just make the mask scarier.
Yeah.
And just keep him at least. Like, again, we're talking about this being a film that has nothing to do with Halloween.
Yeah.
So it's
just
a movie.
Standalone horror movie.
Maybe it's a movie called, I don't know, Descent into Madness or something. It's completely different.
Yeah.
And it's just a movie that winds up on Netflix, and it's got Curtis in it, and maybe Andy Matichek is in it, but maybe she's not.
Even as a theatrical release, like
it could be.
Like I think it was as strong as other horror movies I've seen in the theater. Like, and better than other. Like if it was just a standalone,
horror, removed nothing to do with Halloween.
Yeah, because then I think, like, for the character of Michael Myers, I think it maybe would have served it better if it was just all Michael Myers. And
of course, and that's what it needed to be. I mean, this is the end of 44 years. This is the end of this story connected to the 1978 original. This is the story you decide to tell. It's not that it's a bad story in and of itself. But it's not the vehicle that should have been used to like, I get.
It's not a Halloween story.
It's not a Halloween story. It's not a Halloween movie.
It's kind of compartmentalizing the two.
There is, and there's social commentary that they want to put in here. Jamie Lee Curtis is very is a cheerleader for that, and like I've said on my channel, we've talked about. There's nothing wrong with social commentary in and of itself.
I think it was good work, like in that way. Like,
but the problem is that I think the message of what you want, sort of the legacy to be with these three movies, is muddled, and it's muddy, and it's not consistent. And like I said I will say with this film, at least the whole film is consistent with the theme. Whereas I think in Kills, it's like we pause it for 20 minutes, go do the mob thing at the hospital, that's over with, and then come back and carry the movie. And it feels like, why are we pausing to go and deliver social commentary and then forget about it and come back?
That was the problem. Like, in my opinion, with Kills, it was disjointed in the way that the story was told, and it just felt like a whole bunch of pieces kind of put together. But like for this one, it was a lot more coherent, like overall.
Overall, it was.
But it was...
but it wasn't a Halloween film. And like I've said 1,000 times, I said it to you on the walk back to the car here. Obviously, we see Michael Myers emasculated. We see him in vulnerable situations, and we should never see that. The problem is, and you hit the nail on the head too, is, and I've said it on my channel 1,000 times, and we'll be talking about it more tomorrow. You are, in an essence, creating this deep-seated narrative and all this deep layers in terms of social commentary, and that's great.
Yeah.
With a story that was never that deep to begin with. And I've said that 1,000 times that, you know, in order to keep these movies going, I understand why the filmmakers felt the need to do something like this.
Well, for sure, you got to do something.
Or you're just going to make the same movie over and over again.
Well, that's it.
And that's why I've said to people on this channel, you know, Michael has a shelf life, you know, and you can get 1 or 2 movies out of him that's great and that is consistent with all that. But, you know, it just, this movie was... there's nothing. Look, it's a weird movie because there's good themes there's good ideas there.
Yeah.
But then get rid of Michael Myers. David Gordon Green.
Make it its
go
own
write
thing,
its own movie called Descent into Madness or The Fall of Corey Cunningham or whatever. Call it something.
Yeah.
And tell that story.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was a I understand the messaging they want to get, the themes, Haddonfield, the town, you know, it's we want to have, you know, how is it affecting people and how is it affecting society? I get all that. It's good stuff.
Yeah, it's great.
But then to tag Michael on at the end.
Well, and that's what I mean is like all of those themes.
Feels like they needed to check
and
the
all
box.
of that. Well, all those themes, all like the story in of itself, you know, I think it just would have been better served as a standalone film.
Correct.
Separate and independent from the Halloween trilogy or Halloween anthology or franchise completely.
Yeah.
And then I think it would have stood as a decent horror thriller. Again, theatrical release, cool, no problem. And I think it would have been, like I said before, the story is as strong and in some ways stronger than even some recent releases that have hit the theater. Yeah, like in the same genre.
Right.
You know,
right. And I think that's the problem. And I think that's why there are some people that love this movie because I think they look
like they like the fresh. Or they see it as a fresh take kind of thing?
Well, they do, and I think they appreciate that, which is why I sit back and I think to myself, you know, Malick should take notice of this, that although this movie, a lot of people hate this movie for the many reasons that we've said, there are at least enough people that like this movie a lot,
right,
or are maybe on the fence that might come around to it on subsequent viewings that, you know, and it's hardly got Michael Myers in it, and it's essentially telling this movie is essentially telling an anthology story.
Yeah,
that's what this movie is. That's what Halloween Ends has done. Halloween Ends is not Michael Myers. It's not a Michael Myers story. This is an anthology story about Corey. This might be your first, for all intents and purposes, your first anthology film outside of Halloween 3: Season of the Witch. Now, yes, it's got Michael in it. I get that, but it's telling a very different story over here. Malick might want to take notice and go, okay, not everybody liked it, but a lot of people did. I wonder if we could use this as a jumping off point to tell other stories connected to the Halloween universe that doesn't have Michael in it.
Well, sure. Yeah, then you can do some other things.
You should do some other things.
I do have to say that there were a few of the kills throughout the film that were very Michael Myers. Like, even though, you know, it's Corey, still the just the way the kills played out, they were Michael Myers moments. I felt from when I compare it to 2018 or Kills, and just some of the stuff, because there's been some kills that Michael has done in past movies. There's a bit of a dark satirical comedic edge.
Well, he likes to display his bodies, and
like this one with the record player. Like, you know, it was like Dave and I were kind of laughing. Like, it was kind of comical because.
But that was Corey, though. That wasn't Michael Myers.
No, I know, but I thought it was very Michael Myers to do.
It
was very Michael Myers.
The effects were great. Shout out to Christopher.
Yeah, the
Nelson
production value
was
great. And you know what? Like, I'll just finish by saying that, like, overall, for me, when I watch it in the context if I think of it as a standalone film, and if I were to remove Michael Myers from it, kind of compartmentalize that, I would say, yeah, you know what? It wasn't bad. I enjoyed it. I was entertained as a horror thriller. You know, okay, yeah, neat. You know, some interesting stuff, and I enjoyed it. As a Halloween movie, no, I didn't enjoy it as a Halloween movie in the context of the Halloween saga, right? Yeah. So hopefully everybody understands what I mean. Like, it's, you know, I'm kind of compartmentalizing that as two different things.
And I think I will, again, I'm going to have more to say on this tomorrow, 12 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time on my channel. Make sure you tune into that. I'm going to have tonight to let it marinate. I might watch it again tomorrow morning on Peacock.
Let it simmer like Grandma's stew.
That's it. Yeah. Or Corey's pumpkin.
Keep it hot.
But I think for me, pretty much agree with what you're saying. I appreciate the themes that they want to bring up, the themes that they want to talk about, but I think this probably should have been explored in maybe the first movie, or
yeah, because you
kind
there's
of go
enough
back a bit.
content you could have done stuff. Yeah,
It fails miserably as a Halloween film. It's not a Halloween film. It's this whole other thing, which is the intention, what they wanted to do, but I don't think it succeeds as the third chapter in this trilogy. I think I think there was never and I am purely speculating. I believe that there was more than likely, they did one movie. There was never really a cohesive, connective tissue, overarching story to connect everything. And what took precedence, what took front and center stage, was making sure, how do we tell a story? How do we, what comes first is this message we want to, deliver, which is fine, but I think it might be a little too I don't want to say deep, because I don't want people to think that they're not smart enough to understand it. I mean, obviously, they're smart people, but it doesn't feel it
didn't feel like a Halloween movie.
No, it didn't.
It just felt like a separate thing.
Which
I think, like,
completely
in of itself,
completely,
like, yeah, they did a good job and it was good.
It just felt like a separate movie that you would watch and go, oh, this kind of has some Halloweenish things in it.
Yeah, like
what I mean?
there was only like a portion or segments of the film that were Halloween in its vibes and its atmosphere, all that stuff that you always talk about, right? But for the most part, it was a different film. It was just a different movie. It
surprises me that I just would not have gone this direction with the third chapter in this film. It felt, well, like I said, almost felt like an episode of television.
Right. And you know what? Like, I get, like, from a filmmaking point of view, from a writing point of view, like, whatever, right?
Yeah.
I get what they were attempting to do. I get what they were trying to do.
100%.
And I just kind of go, if I was sitting in the writing room, I probably would have challenged them with the question of, well, you know what, guys, I think you're wanting to tell a different story. The story you're wanting to tell is another story,
right?
And I think different from the Halloween story, because I think part of what it is too is that it's like, I think people get very much attached to and love to see their characters, played out in a certain kind of universe with certain rules, and there's it's tough because you want to see some of the same stuff,
and how do you keep
it
fresh?
But in a new way, but keep it fresh,
right?
But then at some point, is it fair to ask the question, have we made too many of these films? However, in asking that question, I also know, as a filmmaker, it's a business, it's an industry, and we make them because it makes us money.
Of course.
So that's just straight up facts why it happens. But, from an artistic point of view, it's kind of like, well, this was really done a while ago.
No, I would have
like, you know what I'm saying,
100%. Right? I would have said the same thing if I was in that room. I would have said, I get the story you want to tell here, and that's a cool story to tell.
I get what you're trying to do with the Michael Myers character.
But I don't think this should be the story we go with in this third chapter of this trilogy.
Because this is supposed to be like the end of
this is supposed to be the end of the whole
saga,
thing.
Whatever, right?
This should be the Return of the Jedi of the Halloween films. This should be the Return of the King.
Yeah.
This should be, we should walk out of that theater going, wow.
Yeah.
Like, wow, what a thing. To start here is, like, as I said, it's an anthology film. That's what this movie is.
Yeah.
It's an anthology film.
Yeah.
It's a Halloween anthology film. And I say that with confidence because the vast majority of the narrative has nothing to do with Michael Myers.
So let me ask you this. If there were a bunch of Halloween anthology films made.
Right.
And if we were to think that this one was maybe the first of several,
right,
with Michael Myers playing a cameo,
right,
do you think that it would be smart to have, or necessary to have, Michael as have a cameo in all other anthology films as a means of connecting them, or would that be unnecessary?
It probably unnecessary. I really, to be honest with you, I don't think Michael was even needed in this film.
Yeah.
I think, like I said at the top of the stream, they tacked it on at the end because it's the third part. You know what I mean?
Well, I see
we
what
need
they
to
were
finish
doing.
it.
They tried to build up to it. It was
Sure, but
It kind of becomes like filler.
but it's like
Leading
it's
up
like
to
how the Force Awakens and the Last Jedi feel like two first acts.
Don't get me started.
No, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The Force Awakens and
The
the
Force
Last
Awakens,
Jedi
yeah.
and Last Jedi feel like two first acts.
Yes.
This is
yes.
the Halloween Ends is the third movie.
Yeah, and it feels like
This feels like
but-
we're beginning again.
Well, and that's the thing is,
You know?
I'm saying like it doesn't even feel like we're beginning again. It just feels like it's just its own thing.
It is its own thing.
moment.
It is its own
Like
thing.
it doesn't even belong with a trilogy.
No,
or
it doesn't.
anything,
Well, that's
'cause
why I
it's-
said it's an anthology film.
and that's why I say like
Just leave it at that.
it's good, like good job writers from the standpoint of you wrote a complete story beginning to end that
Yep.
that worked in of
got
itself.
some interesting themes.
Yeah, exactly.
So-
if you compartmentalize and just make it its own standalone thing.
I do like the fact, and I will say, I do like the fact that we didn't pause the movie and go off and deliver social commentary for
Yeah.
15 minutes,
Yeah, 'cause that
and
got
then come back
ridiculous
to
in
the
the
rest of the movie. At least in this movie, like it or not, folks,
Yeah.
at least in this movie, the social commentary that they were weaving was throughout the whole film. It
Yeah.
was consistent.
Yeah.
And that was good. That's how you do it. You don't do this and then pause and go, oh, by the way, and then come back. That doesn't, so, I give them props for that. But this isn't a Halloween movie. And God, it was boring. I did.
Yeah, you found it boring?
Well, I found, because boring for a
found it like
Halloween movie.
Yeah.
Boring for a Halloween
Yeah,
movie, right?
yeah.
And this is what people
Well,
want.
and that's it,
And
right?
that's what it comes down to.
Because when I watch it through the lens of just its own movie, I didn't find it boring. But I'm watching it as like a
Halloween movie.
Yeah.
The conclusion to 40 years.
But if I'm watching it as a Halloween movie, yeah, I would agree.
The conclusion to 40 years.
Yeah, this is a slow burn. I expect it to be fast.
Imagine if Return of the Jedi, which is all about Han and Leia and them riding off in the Falcon and,
making babies.
making babies and dancing in the street. I
Yeah.
mean, like, can we get back to Vader? What's going on here?
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm going to have more to say on this tomorrow, after I let this marinate, but I know some super chats came in here, so let me just see if I can get some of these super chats here. I want to see if I can get them. Let me see. Oh, did I get them all? Hang on, I got to go back here. Was that the first one? Wow. I think that was the first. I think it was Cody Leach. Cody Leach sends in $5. Says
Cody.
such a complicated experience.
Yeah.
I really like all the unique ideas, but was baffled they decided to throw them into the final film of a to That's exactly what we were saying. It's. I think the general consensus on those, I got to be. Now I'm going to have more to say on it tomorrow. You guys know me. I'm going to have more to say on it once I let this marinate. But I agree with Cody, and I tend to agree with the general consensus of everybody that was like, we're all like, well, I mean, it's a movie, but it's not a Halloween movie,
Right?
And I think people feel. Rightly so. I think they feel misrepresented. I think they feel gypped because when you watch the trailers and the market, actually, and to be fair, and I'm going to talk about this tomorrow as well. I think, in the marketing, they kept the Corey angle very much a secret, right? They didn't want to reveal all that.
Subdued.
I think they should have just gone with it.
I don't think they would have sold tickets.
No, they wouldn't have. But I'm just saying that if this was just fucking let it out of the of
they
course
needed
they
enough
would.
footage, enough moments, because they also didn't have the same play on the mask and stuff at moments.
There was
like you
nothing.
normally
There was
get,
nothing. This wasn't a
it was very limited.
Ladies and
in any
gentlemen,
types
this
of
is your second
images of-
and first anthology Halloween movie in 40 years, since Halloween 3, Season of the Witch in 1982. That's what this is. It's an anthology film.
Yeah.
Really, at the end of the day.
Right.
Because the bulk of the story is about Corey and his descent into madness, which is fine.
Yeah.
But it's not a Halloween Michael Myers movie.
Michael just shows up to do a cameo.
That's pretty much it. He does.
I was joking, but
Bobby Jesus Reeves says, Dave, did you like Barker's pointless scene? Barker, yeah, he's the he's the fucking sheriff, the cowboy hat. Just shows up at the end.
Yeah.
He's a useless stooge.
I admit, I had a
the
moment.
The character's useless.
Yeah, I had a moment where I saw him get out of the car, and I was like, who the fuck is this guy?
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, right.
He was in the other.
He was part of the mob in that other movie. And I'm like,
was in the other two
why
movies.
did he just show up at the end? Who cares?
Vince Terrello sends in $4.99, says, don't like Allison this time. Michael too weak, wanted better final showdown. Don't hate Corey Angle. Thought that was well executed. I'm split. See, that's exactly. And that's the thing is that it's not that the stuff is bad.
It's two movies being.
It's two movies into one.
Yeah.
It's two movies into one. And
they should be separate movies.
I do not believe, and I know I'm not alone on this, it doesn't succeed at all as a Halloween movie. And it doesn't succeed at all, in my opinion, as the final chapter in not just this trilogy, but in the whole. Like, there's no way that when you watch Halloween 18, you could predict, oh, that's where the story is going to go.
No.
There's no way at all.
I could never predict the direction a Halloween movie would go.
No. But I'm saying, like, with these three films, right?
Yeah.
These, 3 films. Like, when you, there's just, there's no, I mean, it's just silly.
Yeah.
It's just silly. Let's see here. Cody Snyder sends in $5. Thanks, Cody. Says, this setting makes it look like Bruce tried to score some good stuff. Dave is the only dealer holding him up, desperate for a convo. Well, it's true. That's what we were doing. We were dealing. Thank you, Cody. Love Cody. He's one of my new moderators. And then Todd Fayer sends in a very generous chat of $20. Says, congrats on your marriage, Bruce. And I'm sorry you guys saw an awful movie. Well, again, I mean,
it wasn't awful.
It wasn't
I didn't think it was awful.
No, it's not Halloween Resurrection. It's not Halloween 5. Now, there are some fans out there.
And thank you, by the way. Thank you.
Yeah. There are some fans out there that will absolutely say that it is, purely because Michael Myers is not in it. It's not a Halloween movie, and I understand that. But I think there is enough depth and compelling ideas in the movie. It's just, why is it this movie? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And again, I would have totally advised against this. Advised against it. But they don't care what I think. Let me see. And then we have Vince Terrello again sends in $4.99, says, preferred Michael's end in H2O. Honestly, like the movie until the showdown, like the town as a villain angle. No accident they used the H3 font. Yes, that's true. The Halloween 3 font was used for the title cards. That is true. That's obviously on purpose. H2O. Again, I'm not a fan really of H2O at all. But I'm.
Is that the one with Busta Rhymes?
No. That's Resurrection.
Oh. Is that the one with LL Cool J?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. We saw that opening night back in the day. Vince follows up with another $1.99. Says, always great to hear you guys, your guys' thoughts. Thank you, Vince. And then, let's see. $2 Sam sends in $9.99, says, absolutely love this movie. There you go. See right there. Yeah. But it should have been the film they released in 2018.
Right.
If it would have had the Halloween title, it would have been such a great film and probably accepted better. Yeah, I think there would still have to be some adjustments, but I get what $2 Sam is saying, is that it, again, like I said, it feels like another first act.
Yeah.
Like we're setting the stage for this really interesting theme about, what makes somebody, evil and psychotic, and how somebody falls into madness, and, bullying and all that. Like I don't mind that stuff. Like
the experience from
like that social
stuff.
That's stuff that why are you introducing that in the third chapter? Because you don't leave yourself yourself a lot of room to. That's why it feels tacked on at the end, because you need like 90 minutes to explore that, so it doesn't feel rushed, and then you got to go, oh, and here's the fight you were looking for, and it's like,
it got pretty epic though. Like she really, she wasn't messing around.
Yeah. Cody sends in $5, says, so curious what the original idea was before they started rewriting in quarantine. 4 years later, and Happy Laurie was rewrite. Was Corey always the plan? It's true. So the original idea was to have all 3 films take place on the same night.
Yeah.
So and then during the pandemic,
I probably would have chose that.
Yes, I would have as well. But during the pandemic, they decided to go this route, and I think Jamie Lee Curtis is a big reason why. But I
get what they were trying to do.
Yeah,
but you could have had it continue throughout the night.
Movie.
Have the whole story continue throughout the duration of the
night,
from kills into ends.
Yes,
and then have it end at dawn.
That's
right?
Yes.
Do some kind of poetic.
Yes. That's how the original Halloween 2 from 1981 ends. The original Halloween 2 from 81 picks up the same night.
Yeah.
They go, and then it ends at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
The sun is just coming up. Laurie's being wheeled into the back of an ambulance.
Yeah.
And it drives off.
Thing.
Mr. Sandman plays, and that's it.
Yeah.
could have absolutely done that.
Yeah.
Now, you would not have had the character development and depth that you are trying to get with this film. I get that. But it would have been a better Halloween. It's a fucking It's a slasher movie, folks. It's a slasher movie. We're not trying to reinvent the wheel in terms of cerebral, deep layers of social commentary and I don't know what the fuck I'm saying. Anthony Landry sends in $10, says, the irony that this movie tips the cap to part 3 and Michael is just about non-existent in this one as well. Yeah, that is very true. And then Carl III sends in $9.99, says, only thing missing this movie was Buster Rhymes as the new sheriff. The movie was a disaster, making Myers vulnerable. Big mistake. This is not an ending I will ever be comfortable with. Dog poop. A lot I agree with there, especially the Myers being vulnerable. Stephen McCool Reacts sends in $2, says Batman and Robin vibes. Michael was Robin.
Yeah, because it was definitely this duo vibe.
Yep. Michael Long sends in $4.99, says, I think this would have been better received as a middle chapter if they swapped the endings of kills and ends and tweak a few things timeline-wise. Yeah, I mean,
maybe.
It's definitely not third act material. Because you're telling a brand new story.
It's its own story.
The third act is supposed to, like...
But they brought it to a conclusion at the end. Like, it was...
Well, they did,
everything was buttoned up at the end.
But when I hear, and you know this as a writer, and anybody out there who's a writer knows this, and again, it's not... Look, you can do whatever the fuck you want. But traditionally, when you're telling a 3-act play, the third act is carried over from that second. It's not starting again. It's not telling a new story with new characters all together. That doesn't mean you can't have a new character or, some new plot beats or whatever, but you're still telling... There's a linear connective tissue that there's momentum that's carried over from that second chapter. And this is like you just said, it's its own thing. It's not the third chapter of a trilogy.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel anything like that.
Was this movie rated 14A here in Canada?
Yeah, a 14A in Canada I think would be that's our PG-13. So it would be PG-13 in the we don't have PG-13 here in Canada. We have 14A. We have 18A, which is our R.
Yeah.
Right? And then below 14A, I think, is PG.
Yeah.
So,
And
so
then
it's
G.
So it's the equivalent. I'm pretty sure it is.
Because, I remember, because this is the thing, right?
14A. I don't know if you guys can see that there. 14A, that's the equivalent of PG-13 in the US.
Because I just think back to when we were kids growing up, this movie would have definitely been rated R. Even the movie Smile
would have been rated R. Appreciate it. Oh, for sure.
Yeah, but they're both 14A.
Yeah.
I was very surprised because I was like, not this... Yeah, I get it. But.
Anthony T sends in $10, says, I heard in another live stream, Akkad was pissed, did not show up for the premiere, and Jamie Lee had a lot to say so that Laurie lived at the end. No, Malik was at the premiere. The premiere, I saw him on the red carpet with Blum, I'm pretty sure. So he was there. I don't know where that rumor is coming from, unless they're talking about some other thing. Thoughts also, what if Michael grabbed Laurie, pulled her in? What if Michael grabbed Laurie and pulled her into the sewer? Maybe. That's interesting. Matthew Farisi sends in $10, says, I didn't hate it as much as I thought, but we have kept the Halloween tradition of not sticking the landing. That's true. That's very true. Okay. And remember, folks, I'm going to be live tomorrow, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, talking about all this. I'll be reiterating a lot of what I said here today, obviously, because I'll be sleeping on it, have time to marinate. But these are the first, immediate reactions that I wanted to get out there. Ryan S. sends in $5, says, most conflicted I've been about a Halloween movie. Loved it as a standalone, hated it as a finale. Swap ends in 18, keep it as the same night. There's not much there I disagree with. It's a good summary. It's a standalone, and I don't know if I'm the only one that has said this already, but I'm going to say it. It's a standalone anthology film. That's what this movie is. I mean, yes, technically, yes, it is the third chapter of this trilogy, of course. But for all intents and purposes...
But that's not how it actually plays.
But that's not how it's executed. That's not how it plays out.
Yeah.
This plays out as... it's what it is. And listen, if that's the intention, which clearly having the Halloween 3, which is the
Night of the Witches or whatever?
Season of the Witch.
Season of the Witch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that is a movie that doesn't have anything to do with Michael Myers. It's its own
Right.
thing.
Yeah.
And so having the Halloween 3 font during the opening and closing credits of this movie, I don't think is. I mean, no. It's.
You think they did that on purpose?
Well, look. I mean, look. If you and I had made this movie,
But then again, it doesn't make sense why you would do that as a filmmaker. Why would you make an anthology or an anthology? Sorry.
No. I don't.
Trilogy. See,
Yeah,
you just
and
came up with a new
trilogy.
term.
There's the word.
It's a new term.
I don't believe that
This was an
they,
anthology.
I don't believe that. No. I don't think their intention was to make an anthology film. But but look, they're not stupid. They're not dumb. They know damn well that this is different.
Yeah.
They know damn well that it's going to be
Yeah.
polarizing. They know damn well that Michael Myers is hardly in it. They made it. So they know that this is its own thing. They know that. So I think they're very aware and being cheeky by having the Halloween 3 font and, having it. Look, you and I know this.
So they just
Filmmakers know this.
Yeah.
Making movies is really hard.
It is.
It's really fucking
It is.
hard.
Yeah.
And I don't for one guys, I know a lot of people out there be like, "Oh, you're going to hate this movie." I don't hate the movie. What it is I'm disappointed. I'm frustrated and disappointed that out of all the stories you could tell, this is an interesting thing. It's an interesting story.
Yeah.
But put
Good
that over
movie
here.
in of itself.
Put that over there.
Perfectly fine. Yeah.
Why did you go with this as the finale?
Halloween.
For Halloween. There's so many other things you could have done.
It'd be like not getting.
Well, there's so many
It'd
other
be like
things
what
you could
happened
have
with Last Jedi.
Yeah, there's so many other things, dude,
Skywalker Sound,
you could have
whatever
done.
it's called, yeah.
There's so many things you could have done. Geez, a lot of super chats here. Not surprising. 685 people watching us live. Amazing. Stephen McCool reacts. Another $2 says, then Corey beats him up and takes his mask. Cringe. Yeah, well, you guys know me.
That bothered me a little bit because
bothered me too.
it was very uncharacteristic for someone to be able to
do that.
To dominate Michael like that.
Yeah.
Because that's the whole point of these types of characters like Freddy and Jason and Michael is that no one overpowers them.
That's right.
Unless they're up against another Freddy or Jason or Michael.
Or unless they're up, like unless it is it's not that they're not ever overpowered, but unless they're fighting a final girl that is fighting back,
sure,
throwing chairs,
or they're fighting like Alien or Predator, like you know what I mean? It's like
to get the
you understand what I'm saying, right?
Sure,
like it's
sure.
This isn't Iron Man fighting Thanos. Like this is.
I've said it as recently.
Captain Marvel and
it's
Thanos.
Not.
Like
I've said it in recent videos. I've said, look, Michael should never be seen emasculated. He should never be seen in a vulnerable situation or position, and because it ruins the mystique of the character. Now, I will say that, I mean, they did with what they did. I mean, it's not like it could have been worse, but I would not have even. Yeah, it's just the whole thing is just and they know that. They know that David Gordon Green, they know that. They're sitting right back here. Some of them might even be watching the stream. Who the hell knows? There's 700 people in here.
Well, they took a risk, right?
Like they took a risk.
They took a risk, and
this is the story they wanted to tell.
I get what they were doing.
This is the social commentary they wanted to do, but it's not a Halloween film, guys. It's not a Halloween film, and I think you started off, even though I was lukewarm on 18, and I initially, gave it a C+. I think it is still the strongest in this trilogy.
I would agree. As a Halloween
movie, and I think
this was a good standalone movie. Yeah. Sorry.
I just don't think they needed to make any more.
Right.
I think they just should have made that movie and
left it at that. Right. Yeah. But they do because it makes money.
Yeah, it became the highest grossing slasher of all time.
Right. You're gonna make more.
Brooke Flynn sends in $5, says, hello, Dave and Bruce. Thoughts on the final fight? I thought it was way too short, and it just happened kind of randomly. No build-up, very anticlimactic. I would agree. It kind of just came out of
it just sort of
nowhere.
happened.
Just kind of happened.
You were just there, like, and that's where
I think Laurie should have ran out onto the street and ran down the street yelling and Michael chasing her.
Yeah, because
there
was a disconnect with how it came together. It just sort of. You just sort of find yourself in that moment.
That's the moment in the script when you realize you're on page 96 and you're like, oh shit.
Yeah, we've gone over.
We got to add the fight in here.
Yeah.
Shit.
We need this in 5 pages.
Shit. Delete.
Yeah,
Hang on a sec. Oh, fuck.
Save as.
Yeah, save as. That's what this is.
Yeah.
Somebody was like, guys, this is really good, but when's the Laurie shit gonna happen? Oh, fuck.
Right. We got to fit that in because.
Yeah. Yeah, the fight was. Look, I mean, the fight was what there was of the fight. Fine, but I didn't feel anything. And you want to know why too? Because they already fought at the end of the 18 film. So, and I think the end of the 18 film was better.
Well, yeah, the house is on fire. He's on fire.
I'm thinking like
all kinds of stuff happening.
It's not like this is the first time I've seen them fight since '78. They fought in 18.
This was more of a '78 type ending, in a way. Like, do you know what I mean by that? Like, it wasn't as.
Well, she was wearing her blue shirt.
Like, it wasn't as spectacular.
No, it was more.
But there was a lot
gritty,
more.
I guess.
But there was a lot more homage. But it was simpler that way.
Yeah.
Like, it was more. How do I put it? It's like it was more simple in the same vein as 1978 film.
Yes. Well, it was
where
gritty.
It's like, yeah. But it wasn't as much of a spectacle as 18 was.
No, it was all in the kitchen
with the endings.
Right.
And also with kills.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that was like just this,
Bobby Jesus follower Reeves sends in $1.99, says, how cringy was it seeing Michael weak in the cave? Very cringy.
Yeah, and that I made a comment to Dave before we started where I said, you know what, I wasn't really feeling Michael in the sewer, and for some reason, I don't know why, but I kept thinking Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles from like the original back in like the early 90s that was made.
That was a good movie.
And yeah, I loved that as a kid growing up. And so I don't know, it just didn't quite work for me. I was saying to Dave, I think Michael should have been lurking and hanging out in the abandoned house where the child died. Because it almost seems...
So he just shows up.
Well, yeah, you just find him there because that's a Michael thing to do.
Yeah.
And for me, I would draw that parallel to when Michael was a little kid and he took the clown mask off right at the beginning of the original movie.
Yeah.
Like for me, I like that association for the character. And then I don't know. It's yeah. I think as a true Halloween fan could maybe really dig deep into that one and draw some nice parallels.
Tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern, I'm going to tell you what I would have done with this third chapter. So make sure you tune into that. Good Real Hunting sends in $4.99, says the trilogy could have worked better if this was the follow-up to 2018. Years later, after Myers presumed dead in the fire, then kills takes place.
Yeah.
I think Good Real Hunting has a very good point. I think if the house is burning, Michael's in the house, we drive off, Lori's in the back of the pickup truck with her daughter and all that, and they drive off, and then we fast forward a few years, and maybe you get this story, but
we learn he escaped.
Or no, we learned they never found his body.
That's it. Yeah.
Or whatever. And it's kind of like, where's he been? Or I don't know. There's a good movie. There's a good trilogy in here somewhere. You just might have to rearrange a couple of the stories and take things out and
add some new stuff, take some stuff out,
and do whatever it's going to do here. Reese Wilson, all the way from Australia, sends in $14.99 Australian dollars and says, hello, Halloween Ends, or as it should be known, Corey and Laurie, a Halloween story. I think that's true, but it's true. Reese is right.
Corey and Laurie, a Halloween story.
It's
that's
true.
I like that.
Corey and Laurie, a Halloween story. I think it's true. Yeah, I'm totally down with that.
You know what? You should, if you've got editing skills, you should just cut together your own.
I might
version.
I'm gonna cut my Corey and Laurie Halloween story trailer.
Yeah.
Anthony T sends in $5. Says, how about the scene when Corey is like, "Damn, Dad, give me the mask," and they fought in the tunnel. Dad?
Yeah, like there's definitely that. I get it. I think they're alluding to.
Oh,
when
he fought Michael in the no, it was
alluding to that parental type relationship.
Yeah, it doesn't. No, I didn't like it. I didn't like any of that.
No, it was more like Sith Lord. And Padawan,
Master and Apprentice.
Sith, Master and Apprentice.
I didn't like it. I didn't like how Michael was handled. I didn't like. Look, there's a lot of stuff I don't like because it's not a Halloween movie. It's not a Halloween story.
Yeah.
Right. There's nothing.
It's a horror drama.
It's a horror drama thriller that is another story with another title and another film. That's what this is.
The Corey and Laurie story.
I don't see this being a movie that I will watch on a regular basis because it doesn't have the momentum and the build that a third chapter should have in the third act. It doesn't have that all-encompassing, everything that's coming from the beginning. Like there's moments, there's fleeting there's fleeting moments of potential, but it just no. Jesus. The Chad sends in $4.99, says, interesting take on the end of the series. Take risks that I don't know how to feel about yet. Always enjoy your takes. Keep doing what you do. Well, tune in tomorrow, Chad, because I'll be going deeper when I'm back in my studio. But yeah, look, I mean, I appreciate a filmmaker taking risks, but that doesn't mean that I think it was the right risk to take. For a Halloween movie. I don't think, and again, not just a Halloween movie, for the third chapter in the trilogy.
Yeah.
I don't think it was the right thing to do.
Yeah.
I don't, at all. It's not a movie I'm going to watch. Vince Terrello sends in $1.99, says, see y'all for H 2028.
Yeah.
The return of Michael Myers. Yeah, geez, you never know.
Yeah, they'll make it eventually. They'll make it eventually.
Stephen McCool Reacts sends in $2, says, Allison basically ripped his arm off. Like, what? Yeah, it did kind of, I think she broke it, but, with the sound effects and sound design, those audio engineers like to, push up.
Oh, yeah, when she stabbed him, like when Laurie stabbed him, like in the upper chest, I think it was. Yeah. And like when she took the knife out, it sounded like there was like a pool of blood that just came out.
Well, and
but then they cut to the table and it was still like slowly leaking out. I was like,
When Allison takes his arm, it's like, it's like she just like popped it off or something. Arrowhead Production sends in $9.99, says, I enjoyed seeing these characters again for the final time. Good standalone. Probably would have gone a different route for the finale. Someone will eventually retcon and make a direct sequel to Kills. I doubt that. Don't hold your breath on that. Anthony T, another $5, says, would have liked it if Michael woke up and grabbed Laurie at the end and pulled her into the grinder with him. Would I have liked that? Part of me would have liked that because but I think it would have felt like you needed another half hour after that to kind of see how the town is dealing with that shit. You know? I think it would have been a little too shocking at that moment. I
was afraid she was going to trip.
Yeah,
and fall in by accident.
I actually thought she was going to jump in herself and go with him. Oliver Mercer sends in £5 and says, "What are thoughts regarding its ending song choice? Don't Fear the Reaper? I think that's great because that was the song that was used in the original."
Well, you know what? I was expecting Mr. Sandman.
Yeah, they could have done that. They had Mr. Sandman in this new trilogy. I don't think they have.
No, but didn't they in the original? Or am I confusing that
Halloween
with Halloween
2. No, not in the original Halloween, but Halloween 2 they did.
Halloween 2.
Opening and closing credits.
Right. Yeah.
No. Jordan Ellis, 1999, says, I thought it was an interesting film. I enjoyed this better than I thought I would. Definitely issues I had with it, on decisions I would have done differently. But I'll say my favorite take on these characters so far. Well, I think the characters, because it's 4 years later, this is a very character-driven film as opposed to a plot-driven film.
Absolutely.
So, yes, we get more time with the characters. There's more time to breathe.
More development of these characters.
More development, sure. But it's the third.
But it's a different movie.
But why are we doing this in the third chapter?
Right.
Why, why?
Yeah. It's the introduction of new characters. And then...
Stephen McCool Reacts sends in $2, says, what was the purpose of bringing Lindsay back? There was none. Fan service. Collector's Digest sends in $19.99 and says, I like parts of this. Corey should have been in 2018 in Kills, but this build this up a bit. However, I couldn't help but feel trolled. Damn near feel disrespected, and maybe I shouldn't feel that way. Michael gimping along. What the fuck? Yeah, no, it was awful. It was.
He did a lot of limping around.
I was sitting there in the theater watching this and thinking, this is just.
Why is Michael hanging out in the shadows like he's?
I think what people look, and I don't want to speak for people.
He's broken and hurt.
But when people say they love this, I think I love this movie. This is great. I love this movie. What they're really saying is that there's an illusion that's happening. And there's character development, which is good. There's an intriguing theme and story, which is good. But I just think it comes too little too late. I think it's too late in the game. It doesn't feel like Halloween. And I think this freshness is maybe, making people feel that they like the movie more than they really do.
Or maybe they just like it for it being just, a decent movie in of itself.
It could be that as well. Could be that as
which
well.
means that
To
they
be fair.
enjoyed the movie. Like,
To be fair.
I enjoyed the movie in of itself as
Right.
a standalone piece.
Right.
And I think
But
it
that's
would
what
be
I'm talking-
stronger without Michael Myers in it.
I agree. I absolutely agree.
And just go make another movie.
I absolutely
with him in
agree.
it.
And listen, the anthology debate is a big debate amongst the Halloween community and fans. And what do you do next? Do you
Right.
go on? Do you remake it? Do you do an anthology thing? Because back in 1982, when Season of the Witch came out, anthology wasn't in the pop culture zeitgeist like it is today.
Yeah.
Anthology films.
We
are
weren't
very
dealing
much-
with multiple universes.
No, we weren't.
Yeah.
And now I think a anthology film, you could even remake Season of the Witch, today and do certain things. So that's why I take notice that it's not a terrible movie in the sense of what they were trying to do, but it's a terrible Halloween movie, and it doesn't work as the third chapter in a trilogy, but there are people that really like it. And that's why I think Malick should think about this for a moment, because I think this proves, because this basically is an anthology movie. So I think this proves that and Michael's hardly in it. So I think this does prove that there's a high probability that you could tell other stories in the Halloween universe. And
they would be successful.
And they might be successful.
Yeah,
or
yeah.
you might have people like them.
As long as they're nice, complete stories.
Complete
and
stories.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that maybe this is a good test run. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. We got Anthony T sends in $2 and says, Mr. Sandman as ending song instead of Reaper. No, I would have gone with Don't Fear the Reaper. I think that's classic.
Yeah, I'm not as quite in tune with it all, admittedly, as
Don't Fear
as
the
rest
Reaper
of you
is
are, so.
by Blue Oyster. Is it Blue Oyster? I think that's it.
Well, what movie am I thinking of that had Sandman in it?
Halloween 2.
Yeah. but I thought
Halloween
there was
2 has
another.
Mr. Sandman.
Yeah.
Halloween H2O has Mr. Sandman at the beginning as like a callback to part 2.
Okay.
But Blue Oyster Cult, I think, is the name of the band. But in the original Halloween, when Laurie and Annie are driving in the car, Don't Fear the Reaper is on the radio.
That's right.
So it harkens back to the original film.
Yeah, so that makes
I think
sense.
it was the right choice.
Yeah,
It's the right
yeah.
choice to play that.
Yeah,
and
that
it's
makes
very
sense.
symbolic if you listen to the lyrics.
Yeah.
Anthony T says, sends in $2, says, was Corey hallucinating with Laurie in the chair?
I don't think so.
I don't think
didn't
so.
she leave and then?
She did leave. I don't. That's a layer that I don't think they were communicating. I don't.
No, I think she
didn't
was
get
actually
that.
there.
I think she was actually.
I got that impression. Yeah.
Howard D. And because later Allison, I think she even says she went to see him. I can't remember. Anyway, Howard D. sends in $5. Says, I wonder how many people looked into Michael's eyes and turned homicidal. Loomis used to stare in those black eyes a lot. Yeah, I don't know. Very weird indeed. Anthony T, $2. Lindsay was not in crowd. What the fuck? Oh, at the end of the movie. Yeah, a little bit of a missed opportunity there to show her there. That would have been nice. Jordan Ellis, $9.99 says, and Michael is supernatural now. That is very interesting route to go, given what they've done with 18 and Kills. I'm not sure how I feel about that moment. You mean not supernatural now? No, I mean, in this movie, again, like I've always said, the original Michael Myers, people I think like to, because we as humans like to sort of compartmentalize or really kind of, black and white things. I don't think Michael, the original intention of the character was that he's not literally supernatural, but it's also not knowable, right? It's a debate that will go on for millennia because we're not supposed to know. The enigma, the ambiguity, the mystique, the question, the debate, the back and forth, we're not supposed to know. But Carpenter has specifically said, and he's the writer, he created the character, he specifically said that Michael is a human being, but there's a supernatural edge to him. And what he means by that is that there is something about him that you can't quite quantify or put your finger on. And yes, he's a man, which is, if you were to remove his head from his body, he would die. It's not like Freddy Krueger or Jason, where all of a sudden, like, their head would roll over to their body and reattach or something.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
This is a human being, but he's able to withstand and do certain things that you're like, that's weird.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you know what I
yeah,
mean?
because the nature of Freddy Krueger, I've always associated him as being a demon.
He's a dream demon.
Which is why he has these supernatural powers
Correct.
and whatnot.
Correct.
Jason is, I don't know.
Right. Well, he's like a zombie or whatever. But
Yeah.
Michael being there and not there and all that kind of stuff that's part of the allure. That's part of the mystique. That's what keeps him separate from the others.
Yeah.
So I think they've done a good job at maintaining that in this trilogy to a point. But yes, obviously putting him in the thing that they put him in and watching his body break up, yeah, it's clearly he's not coming back from that. He's not that kind of supernatural. So I think it's a little more nuanced than that. But I think there are people like, no, he's supernatural. And he's like, well, but he's not really. You know what I mean? Like, yes, but, you know, the original from
Right.
78.
He's yes, but.
Yes.
Yeah.
Kevin Fitzpatrick, $2, says, it didn't feel like a Halloween film. Decent, 5 out of 10. It didn't. Ben Lowry sends in $9.99, says that movie was an absolute dog pile. The dialogue of Laurie and Allison was written by a teenager. Corey was rushed, and what the fuck happened to Lord of Kills, most of Myers, to Laurie? What happened to Laurie of Kills? Laurie of Kills Myers? They basically undid everything they just said. Well, yeah. I mean, there's somebody. I mean, listen. I get it, man. I get it. I get it. I get it. Jeez, you guys. Carl III sends in $9.99, says, you can take a risk, but the risk they took ruined the trilogy, and it ruined what Myers stood for. My final ending is 2018. I didn't care for that one either. 4 writers couldn't get it right. Shake my head. Yeah, they had 4 writers on this film, which is just too much.
Oh, wow.
It's too many chefs in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Anthony T sends in $5, says, Michael tied up on top of the car, dead grandma on vacation. Yeah, it kind of seems like that. And who had the bullhorn for the whole town to come in 5 minutes and forget to tell Lindsay? Yeah, it's true. All of a sudden, the whole town showed up in a few moments. Well, like I said, page 96.
Yeah.
Hey, Dave, yeah, you're on 96. Fuck! Michael shows up, they have a fight, they put him on top of the car, and they like pack that into like a paragraph.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's kind of what it felt like.
Yeah.
Ben Lowry, $1.99, says, after seeing this, H18 should have been the standalone. Agreed. JT Mills sends in $9.99, says, I would have rather Michael be dead the whole time. I could justify that in my head as like his final kill was done in his sister's room and kills. Like there's some full circle closure in that. Yeah, no, I get what you're saying, buddy. I get what you're saying. Okay, we made it to the end. Ryan S says, in $2, what did you think of that brief radio tower scene? The death? I thought actually that was the best kill in the movie, and it wasn't even Michael Myers.
Yeah, that's what I mean. There was a very Michael Myers moment. Very Michael Myers death.
Yeah, and it wasn't even Michael Myers.
Kind of funny.
Yeah, the tongue on the thing, it was funny.
Yeah.
It was funny, but it wasn't Michael Myers.
Like in a very dark humor kind of way.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Carrie, $4.99, says, I know I'm in the minority, but I like this movie. Really enjoyed my IMAX experience. Yeah, interesting.
Well, and I bet you the sound was probably better because, the theater that we were in, something was going on with the audio.
The audio was very low.
Yeah, they must have turned some of the speakers off.
Or down or fuck.
Because some of the sounds were good.
Yeah. I had that same problem seeing Elvis.
Yeah. I think the theaters are doing it to save money.
They probably are.
Yeah, to save on power.
And sometimes they'll have the bulbs dimmed too to save power money.
Yeah,
and
it's fucking annoying.
To save on the bulb. It's like, fuck off.
Yeah.
Fuck off with that shit.
Stop going to see movies in the theater.
Then don't charge me fucking...
If any studio executives are listening, please stop doing that because it actually is counterproductive to the movie going experience you're trying to create for all of us.
It is. Or charge me $5 a ticket then.
Yeah. Charge me less. Because you're giving me less.
Hey, Lewis! Nerd Report. Lewis, my man, sends in $5, says, once again, Dave's video is better than the movie. Thank you, Lewis. Love you, buddy. Stephen McCool reacts, sends in $2, says, wasted potential with Hawkins for sure. Yeah, Will Patton is such a great character actor that it's too bad that he was sidelined in really this trilogy. He's Hawkins, the older guy that ends up he's such a great character actor.
So I was thinking Stranger Things for some reason.
I'm
not as dialed in.
That's all right.
Admit
That's all right.
But
that guy sends in $4.99, says, of all the Halloween movies, this was certainly one of them. Indeed it was. All right, folks, listen, that's going to do it for this just kind of immediate reaction thoughts. Thank you to all those super chat questions that came in. 842 people watching us right now. Great stuff. Tomorrow, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on my YouTube channel. I dive into it. I will probably be reiterating a lot of the things that I've said here today, but I will have the night to sit on it, to marinate. I may watch it again tomorrow morning on Peacock. Eddie Chase goes hard into the paint at the buzzer, sends in $4.99, says, I liked it, not loved it. I can appreciate a unique vision. Otherwise, we get the same. Whoa. Damn if you do, damn if you don't. I don't know. I think you can do without being damned if you know the right story to take and not insulted. Matthew Ferreira, $4.99. I think Michael is somewhat supernatural, but this is his supernatural aspects are limited. He is supernatural, but he's just not supernatural in a quantifiable way. And that's all I got to say on that. All right, folks.
Yeah.
Great talking to you.
Yeah,
You guys are
great
amazing.
Great talk.
And we will see you tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Game on.
All righty. Okay. Talk to you later. Thank you guys. You guys are awesome.
Later.
Later.